Welcome back, everyone, to the Foundry by Forge College Explainer. Today, we're literally unrolling a master blueprint. Now, if you've been following along with our track on wallets, account abstraction, and key management, you already know we've been busy piecing together the nuts and bolts of modern Web3 infrastructure. And today we're tackling something absolutely crucial: Paymaster principles and fee sponsorship. Let's get into it.
So, in our previous lesson on bundler fundamentals, we saw how bundlers are just fantastic at sweeping up user operations and squishing them down into one single highly efficient on-chain transaction. And yeah, that batching saves a ton of overhead. It's a real game changer. But here's the catch. That definitive on-chain gas fee, it still has to be paid by someone. The blockchain doesn't work for free, right? So it begs the question, who exactly is paying the gas?
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our agenda for today. First, we'll outline the gas problem, then we'll meet our hero, the Paymaster. After that, we'll look at some sponsorship strategies, take a peek under the hood at the mechanics, and finally, we'll apply it all to sponsoring a brand new account creation.
All right, Section 1, the gas problem, aggregation versus execution costs.
Just to quickly recap what we know, batching collapses fixed costs. Things like signature checks and EVM transaction overhead get neatly bundled up. But when that aggregated bundle actually hits the entry point on the blockchain, the network still issues a definitive gas bill. Enter our solution, the Paymaster. A Paymaster is essentially the generous benefactor of the Web3 world. It's a smart contract, a third-party abstraction that steps right in and says, hey, I'll take care of that. It sponsors the gas fees for individual user operations inside a bundled transaction. This is huge, because it means users don't have to hold the native token just to participate.
Moving on to Section 2, Meet the Paymaster, the bar tab versus the toll booth.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the two main mental models for these benefactors. On the left, we've got the bar tab model. Imagine a super hospitable host waving their hand and telling the bartender, just put it on my tab. This is obviously incredible for user experience, but it comes with a pretty high financial risk for the sponsor. I mean, we all have that one friend who will immediately order the most expensive drink in the house the second they hear open bar, right? On the right side, we have the toll booth model. This is your strict gatekeeper. It is security first. The toll booth operator meticulously checks your vehicle, or in our case, your wallet eligibility, and charges on a strict per-usage basis. So it's highly secure, for sure, but it definitely adds a little friction to the user's journey.
Let's jump to Section 3, Sponsorship Strategies, how the bill gets paid.
So, let's move from abstract metaphors into reality. These 5 funding models you see here, they're basically the toolkit for any Web3 engineer. First up, we have direct gas. It's simple, but it totally exposes you to gas volatility. Second is token-backed. This one is great for aligning your token economy, but you do have to manage liquidity and swaps, which can get complex. Third is conditional. This is your toll booth. It limits abuse, but it can definitely frustrate users and degrade the UX. Fourth, we have subscription. This gives you predictable costs, but you run the risk of wasting unused funds. And fifth, third-party reimbursement. Highly flexible, but it introduces off-chain credit risk. And by the way, if you want to master the granular code implementation behind each of these exact strategies are deeply explored in Forge College's advanced learning courses. Definitely worth checking out.
Okay, Section 4, Under the Hood Mechanics, the engine of sponsorship.
Now we're going to literally lift the hood and look at the 3 mechanical gears that make these paymasters function securely in the wild. Step 1 is pre-validation. This is where the paymaster checks eligibility off-chain. It's looking at nonces, the sender, or off-chain signals just to see if they actually want to pay for this specific transaction. Step 2 is endorsement. Here, the paymaster provides hard evidence to the bundler that, yes, it will pay. This is usually done by an on-chain signature or by posting a deposit. And step 3 is settlement. This happens after the execution is totally finished. The paymaster settles the final bill to make the bundler whole.
So the crucial point you need to take away here is that these mechanical choices literally set the economic contract terms between the sponsor, the bundler, and the user. It's a delicate balance. If your paymaster asks bundlers to just rely on off-chain trust instead of a cold, hard on-chain deposit, well, those bundlers are taking a risk. And to protect their own economics, they might start slapping on surcharge fees, or honestly, they might just flat out refuse to process the operations altogether.
All right, bringing us to Section 5, Sponsoring Account Creation, the Blueprint in Action.
Let's bring all of these concepts together and apply them to a concrete, real-world scenario, sponsoring the gas for a brand new user who's creating a wallet. First, the new user creates the user operation, which contains their account setup logic. Second, the bundler grabs this and shoots a request over to the Paymaster, basically asking, hey, are you covering this? Third, the Paymaster pre-validates it. It ensures this is actually a new user, and it provides its endorsement evidence, perhaps by posting a short-lived deposit. Fourth, the EntryPoint executes the operation on chain. And finally, step 5, the Paymaster reconciles everything post-execution to prevent any abuse of the system.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole balancing act of sponsorship. I mean, sponsoring onboarding is incredible, right? It totally skyrockets conversion rates because users don't even need crypto to start. But you absolutely must rigorously track your metrics. You have to monitor the average gas per user, strictly track your ratio of new accounts to genuine users, implement per-identity limits, and manage your gas volatility buffers. Otherwise, you're just opening up the ultimate open bar tab for scripted fraud bots to completely drain your treasury, and nobody wants that.
Which brings us to the core philosophy of this entire system. Paymaster design is an economic contract between sponsor, bundler, and user. You have to remember that every single decision you make, from how you pre-fund to how strict your conditional validation is, fundamentally alters the financial incentives for everyone participating in the ERC 4037 stack. It's like a giant puzzle where every piece affects the others.
So, as we wrap up, I'm going to leave you with a provocative question to chew on. How will your Paymaster blueprint balance a frictionless, welcoming user experience with strict, uncompromising financial security? Are you going to be the open bar tab or the strict toll booth? It's a seriously incredible design challenge. In our next explainer, we're going to dive into transaction batching and cost efficiency strategies to see exactly how these Paymaster decisions affect batch sizes. Until then, we highly encourage you to head over to forge.college to continue your Web3 engineering journey and explore all of this in much more detail. Thanks so much for watching and keep building.